me! Oh!
You will go one-on-one with The Undertaker!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hit the Books, the only weekly realistic fantasy booking podcast in the universe. I am your host, as always, Ryan Knightsey. And with me, as always, to celebrate the non-horror show that is this pay-per-view special, it is none other than the man of 1,000 nicknames, Mikey Manfredi. Mikey, how are you doing, my man? Oh, Jesus, my cat, he's jumped up on my table. Mikey, go.
Why? Who says it can't be a horror show, Ryan? We can make it as scary as we want to make it.
I like how, because we have, we in our universe, the COVID has not existed, but none of us have chosen to do any of these movie-esque matches.
Because they're hard to do.
None of us has done a swamp fight.
A swamp match. Because we still have the benefit of the fans.
We still have the benefit of the fans. We don't need movie cameras. We got the fans.
They don't even use movie cameras. It looks like they use the same cameras they use when they film regular stuff.
That's probably more accurate. So
I wish they would get movie cameras to do the cinematic matches. It would make it 100 times better.
Pop in with a red 4K camera.
Right? It's not like you don't have the money for it. Shit.
Great point. Great point. There's no reason not to shoot it cinematically. Besides just ease. I don't even know if it's ease.
I mean, you just fired a bunch of people, so clearly you have a bunch of money there.
Well, Mikey, I think it's pretty known fact that all that money was need for the bonuses, need for corporate bonuses this year. How else would they going to get their corporate bonuses?
Oh yeah, how else are those execs going to get paid? How are they going to ever eat?
How else will I eat my meat? What is it? Meat cubes? No. What is it? Use the better impression.
The beef wraps.
How else do I get my beef wraps?
Somebody get me a beef wrap.
Well, speaking of beef wraps, we're starting this episode a little salty. So let's get into the actual love that is booking professional wrestling. We've been building.
Not a horror show over here. It's a love show. Extreme Rules, feel the love.
Man, if we did Extreme Rules in February, that'd be perfect. So we've been building towards Extreme Rules, Mikey, for another 5 weeks or so. It's another year, another Extreme Rules. We've got a bunch of matches that are almost all of the matches have some sort of extreme quality to them. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for this year, and I think, I guess we're also slightly biased naturally, but legitimately, I think this might be one of the best cards we've ever put together.
Yeah, this is definitely an awesome pay-per-view, and I'm excited to share it with the world.
Yeah, I am straight up excited, as it were, over here. So thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode of Hit the Books. Of course, this is the pay-per-view special, like we said, of Extreme Rules. But of course, if you're new, I should say, if you're new here, if you're new to Extreme Rules, not Extreme Rules, if you're new to
Extreme Rules.
If you're new to Extreme Rules, it's a pay-per-view where they do Extreme Rules. They have matches that have weapons and whatnot. That's basically the premise. But the premise of this show is that every week, Mikey and I basically do our own version of GM mode, but it's a week-to-week, booking all of the matches, segments, promos, doing all that stuff, and, doing it well, I hope to say, I guess. But I guess I only know if we're doing it well if our audience votes in those polls and on our Twitter page, Mikey, and tell us if we are doing well or not.
Or leave us reviews on iTunes.
I guess that's also true. You can do that as well. But you're here listening to Extreme Rules, and you want to know, you've been listening for the past couple weeks, and you want to know, we've been building to this pay-per-view for a long time. And like I said on the last episode, for me, this is a very important pay-per-view. Because this, Mikey, it should be said, the next pay-per-view after Extreme Rules is SummerSlam. So, we're right around the corner. So, at least for me, this is like my big starting build to SummerSlam.
Rolling into the big five.
Yeah, we're going straight into that. But of course, we got Extreme Rules first, Mikey. Thoughts on Extreme Rules as a concept for a pay-per-view? How do you, it's another one of those gimmick pay-per-views, but how do you feel about it?
I realize that Extreme Rules matches are just glorified no DQ matches.
Yes. I remember like a couple years ago, WWE put out like an actual press release stating what was the difference between like Extreme Rules matches and no DQ
the regular
matches.
No DQ match?
Yeah. And unsanctioned matches and
they all seem the same, are they not? What's the
no holds barred matches? I think like part of the difference is like whether or not you can use rope breaks. And of course the unsanctioned match is like, it's because our place doesn't, we are not in charge of it. And I think like no holds barred is the one where you can't use rope breaks or something. But there's something about extreme difference between Extreme Rules matches and no disqualification matches. I'm just not entirely positive what that may be.
I looked up what's the difference between Extreme Rules and No Holds Barred, and it says Extreme Rules has a weapon wheel and pins and submissions done in the ring. No Holds Barred has no weapon wheel and still has pins and submissions done in the ring.
Well, there you go. As we all know, when we're watching wrestling, when some sort of wrestler goes underneath the ring apron, a weapon wheel pops up. And
I mean, it's funny because it's just for the WWE games, right? Like, that's what someone did, but like it's just so funny to think about that in real life context. It's just like when they go into the ring, it's just like and then like on the Titantron, like a weapon wheel pops up.
Yeah, like Baron
Corbin's audience has
down
to
there. Vote. Oh my god, that would be
Cyber Sunday, baby. We're bringing it back.
That would be like a choose your own adventure. That's like such a high concept for like a actual live wrestling show. Like if we ran like an indie Mikey, we do like this match is a choose your own adventure match where the wrestlers are going to do it, but like when they go into the apron, the audience has to quickly decide what weapon they take out.
You have like we have a minute. Like they have like a minute to decide on the poll.
This sounds like an awful. This match is going to take 30 minutes just for anything to happen.
No wonder it hasn't been done yet.
Well, but it's not going to happen here. Do you want to? We've been talking Extreme Rules.
Are you sure? We still have a few matches with no stipulations.
That's true. We can add it now.
We can make them a choose your own adventure match.
That is true. Well, let's run down the card for this pay-per-view, Mikey, for this Extreme Rules card. And if you want to at last second change it to a choose your own adventure, I guess that's up to you.
Oh, of course.
Right. Yeah, you want to start off and we'll switch back and forth?
Yep. First match of the pre-show is Ruby Riott with Undisputed Era versus Charlotte Flair in a no disqualification match.
Second match of the pre-show is Daniel Bryan versus Andrade in just a straight-up singles.
After that, we have the Street Profits versus One Nation for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a ladder match opening up Extreme Rules.
Yeah, baby. Then next up, we got another tag match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. The the Genetic Goddesses, Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, a name I have not come up with in any capacity.
After that, we have Samoa Joe versus Pete Dunne in a United States Championship match, which is going to be a chairs match.
After that, we have a fatal four-way for the Raw Tag Team Championships, where it's going to be the Disciples, the team of Dave Mastiff and Buddy Murphy, or I guess just Murphy, against the Usos, against LLC, Bobby Lashley and Cesaro, versus the champs, The New Day.
After that, we have Braun Strowman versus Randy Orton for the Universal Championship.
Next, we will have a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, The Miz versus Sheamus versus the champion, John Morrison.
After that, we have Roman Reigns versus The Fiend in an Inferno match.
I cannot wait for that one. Next up, we got a tables match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Asuka.
And then after that, we have The Demon versus Drew McIntyre in an Extreme Rules match.
And then finally, in your main event, it will be WWE Champion Brock Lesnar taking on the challenger, Keith Lee. Big pay-per-view matches here, Mikey. I'm so excited.
Lots of stipulations for sure. Lots of items.
Lots of items. Lots of stipulations. I'm definitely excited for this card. So why not we get into it? So let's just get straight into it, Mikey. Let's talk about it. Pre-show, you got Ruby Riott with members of the Era, because let's not forget Ruby Riot's in Undisputed Era, versus Charlotte Flair, no disqualification match. What is happening in this match? Tell me about it.
So this match kind of got started because of last week where they and Charlotte Flair won, but then Ruby Riot jumped Charlotte from behind and challenged her to a match to try to dethrone the Queen. And I think this match has other not stipulations. Can have other results too, as in like who might be next to challenge Bayley or Asuka, depending on who wins this match for the SmackDown Women's title. And it's a big match, and I just thought it would be a good addition because I have one extra spot. And in this match, Charlotte Flair takes home the victory
Again.
Remaining the Queen, taking on all of Era and Ruby Riot,
So
coming out on top.
Tell me about Era. Who of Undisputed Era is there?
The Squad.
All four?
Well, yeah, okay. So it probably can't be all four, or else that would be ridiculous. I like to say let's just say it's just Cole and Roderick Strong.
Okay, so Ruby Riot with Cole and Strong gets outsmarted, outworked by Flair.
I like to think at one point Flair takes out Cole and Strong.
I like to imagine she definitely puts one of them into a figure eight.
Yeah, or does like the moonsault off the top onto all of them.
Oh, that even better. Do that as well. Okay, Charlotte Flair gets the win here. Not necessarily a number one contenders match, but definitely
definitely has those implications for sure.
Yeah, it has the stakes or whatnot in there.
Yeah.
Whether it be medium or some sort of rare variety.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I think it's I like the pick. I like it. I think I like it. I don't have any.
You think you like it?
I don't have any big. I mean, there's part of me where I'm like, I am a big fan of Ruby Riot, so I wish she got the win here, especially with Era on her side. But you're pushing Flair, so I get that. You Flair lost the tournament, so you need to build up Flair a little bit as well. And there is something to say that it wasn't this. Weren't these women? They were on the same side of the bracket when you were doing that women's tournament, weren't they?
Yes, I believe so.
And I believe they both lost to Bayley.
Yes,
I want to say. I'm not positive. I believe that's the case.
They did both lose to Bayley.
So yeah, you get that nice follow up as well. I think it makes sense why you did it, and I can see where you're going potentially. Mm-hmm. Well, want to talk the next match, Mikey?
Next up, we have a match between Daniel Bryan and Andrade with Zelina Vega. Ryan, who do you have in that match?
Well, obviously, like the reason we're throwing it back to each other is that Mikey and I have been booking SmackDown and Raw, respectively. So Mikey's SmackDown, I'm Raw. So this is a Raw match here to open up the pre-show. Daniel Bryan versus Andrade. Past couple weeks, Daniel Bryan recently sort of kind of turned back to face when he's saying that he's sort of looking to help the younger talent, similarly to what he did with the Pure. But obviously, the Pure all fell apart for various reasons, out of our control, and he's sort of turning face in that regard. Then there was a little bit of action where he upset Andrade, and then there was another on top of that. Bryan helping Miz win the match last Friday, which allowed Miz into the IC title match later tonight, and Andrade did not get it, so this match became permanent and set up for here. Mikey, I want to tell you right now, Daniel Bryan's winning it.
Ooh, nice.
And he's going to win it in like 2 minutes with a small package.
Whoa.
Flash, quick win. Daniel Bryan wins it, 2 minutes with a small package.
I bet Andrade's not happy about that.
Yes, Mr. Small Package gets it done in the ring. Andrade, of course, gets mad following the match and beats down Bryan a lot. This is Extreme Rules after all, so chairs and all.
Yep.
Really going after him, but someone's going to make that save. Who's it going to make? Who is it going to be, Mikey? I'll tell you this much. It's going to be Shorty G runs out to make the save.
Interesting.
Which, if you don't know, now you know, I had scheduled down here was a return for Shorty G for this pay-per-view because Shorty G many moons ago was injured for 10 weeks.
Many moons ago.
Yes, 10 weeks ago. I believe at one of the pay-per-views. I want to say it would have been Money in the Bank, probably. I'm going back in Money in the Bank lore. Yes, at that number 1 Contenders Battle Royal, Shorty G was injured. So
Indeed.
he has returned, and he is saving Daniel Bryan after this very quick win.
All right.
Yeah, so Daniel Bryan gets the win. Charlotte Flair get the win in the pre-show. But, of course, let's move on into the main card, folks. Main card of Extreme Rules.
The main show, if you're not paying for WWE Network, you're not getting this one, folks.
Of course
Unless,
not.
of course, it's your first month.
Of course not. How dare ye? Can we start talking what if we just, as a society, just started talking like pirates?
Avast.
Like Avast, matey. But we didn't do the stereotypical voice. We just added words yeah. So I went to my matey's house and I went to his ye old house.
Randomly threw in some words.
Yeah, just said matey or ye.
Yeah, he was such a landlubber that day.
God, I was like, let's go to the beach, and he's like, no, and I was like, Jesus, what a landlubber. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, matey? Vast,
Aye.
Perfect. Let's move into the first match on the main card, Mikey. You have set up here for SmackDown Tag Team Championship, hung up I was going to say the rafters, but just hung up a little bit above the ring, 15 or 20 feet or so. In a ladder match, you got One Nation, the champs, defending their titles against the Prophets of the Street Profits.
The Prophets of the Street.
Dawkins and Ford.
The Street Profits.
Yes.
So this match came about when One Nation started talking smack about heavy machinery, and Street Profits, having their respect for heavy machinery, decided to come in and defend them, and it turned into a big rivalry where they've been going back and forth for weeks. And on the go-home show, the Street Profits decided to challenge One Nation to a ladder match for those titles. And in this match, One Nation is going to come out on top yet again and retain their championships. And part of my reasoning as to why...
Yes, please explain, because I'm interested why.
Part of my reasoning as to why is because Angela Dawkins has a nagging injury, and he is in a hardcore match.
That is a great point, Mikey. Want to talk about what is the nag? So part of the show, part of the gimmick of this show, folks at home, if you're new, is that we have this sort of randomizer that each week the audience votes to see what happens. We sort of add different things that could randomly happen, like injuries. So a couple weeks ago, Mikey got a nagging injury on a superstar. It was Dawkins. Mikey, what does that mean? What does it mean with Angela Dawkins have a nagging injury?
It means that he got an injury, but it wasn't too bad. So he could keep wrestling in regular matches. But if he is in a hardcore match, or if an injury does happen, the nagging injury comes up. And what that is, since he's in a hardcore match, like a ladder match, he is now going to be out for, I believe, 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Oh, boy. Dawkins out for 3 weeks. Was that 1, 2, 3? He can't return until, show number 4 for our docket. He can still be back for SummerSlam, but he's definitely gone for a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I guess in terms of a... you knowingly going into the match with Profits, Angela Dawkins being injured, I think it was a good idea. Probably keep the titles off of One Nation. I mean, these guys have been. Go ahead.
I like having the titles on One Nation still as well, because I wanted them to have a more dominant run. I don't want them to just have it for a couple, like a pay-per-view, and then lose it. I thought it would make more sense for them to have a more dominant run after all the build we've given them.
Yeah, I would say that One Nation Street Profits have been feuding for a little while now, sort of on the down low. And I feel like they've been doing a really good job of being sort of dominant champions. I would argue that this might potentially be their defining win, their defining defense, because this is a big. I mean, maybe a bigger defining defense would be Era. A very popular, well-known team like that. But I would say, in terms of the history of the show, Street Profits and One Nation, I think that's a solid defense on their part. They're racking up, and basically the entire premise of One Nation, anyways, I mean, was to be like, hey, we are worth more than we're being given, so we're gonna take. We're just gonna take what we deserve.
Yeah.
And them being dominant champions is proving that they were worth more.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like. I like that. I think it's a good. So what I'm trying to say, Mikey, is I thought that was a good choice.
Thank you. I'm glad you think it was a good choice.
You sacrificing Dawkins a little bit, but I think it's a solid choice to have One Nation get the win here.
Yeah. Anyway, next up, let's talk about the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, the Genetic Goddesses, versus Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Ryan, let's hear it.
Yeah, so the Women's Tag Team Champions of Morgan and Ripley defending their titles against Bliss, Raw Women's Champion Bliss and Nia Jax. And additionally, Mikey, there's that added stipulation here that if Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley defeat and are successful in the retention of those tag team championships, then Morgan and Ripley can each individually challenge Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship.
Nice. Big. So more stakes on this than just the titles.
Yes, there's more stakes than just the titles. This was, if you don't remember, this was a sort of stipulation that they were able to add 2 weeks ago after a contract signing, where Ripley defeated Nia Jax to get that stipulation added. So yeah, so they're both looking, Morgan and Ripley are not only looking to defend their titles, but they're looking for, for even more. They're looking to get a potential shot at the Raw Women's Championship. And I'll tell you what, Mikey, they got it.
Whoa.
Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley win. They retain their titles. Not only that, Morgan pins Nia Jax to do it. So Bliss is protected slightly, but Morgan Ripley still pick up the win. So that means at some point they are going to go after Alexa Bliss's Raw Women's Championship. When?
I like it.
I do not know. I'm not Liv Morgan or Rhea Ripley, so I do not know exactly. I'm just the booker. I do know when one is taking place, and that's all I'm saying on the matter. And moving on.
Yeah, next up, we got the chairs match between Samoa Joe and Pete Dunne for the United States Championship, which got built up after a while now. Pete Dunne has been kind of trying to get on Samoa Joe's radar because Samoa Joe didn't really acknowledge Pete Dunne as a threat. Pete Dunne has battled for weeks and finally beat Samoa Joe in a match to win his opportunity to win his number one contendership for this match, and finally getting on Samoa Joe's radar and upping the extremeness because it is Extreme Rules and Pete Dunne wanted to make it a chairs match.
Because why not?
Because why not? Why not? Just beat each other to death with some chairs.
It is Extreme Rules. After a certain point, you're just like, I can't explain every single match stipulation here. I just gotta.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of extreme to happen.
Perfect.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
What's the result? Who is Samoa Joe retaining his title, or is Pete Dunne invading the United States and becoming a new U.S. champion?
The result is Pete Dunne taking home the victory.
Whoa, really?
And winning the United States Championship after hitting Samoa Joe with a bitter end onto a chair.
Oh, dang. That's huge, honestly. Holy crap, that's huge. Pete Dunne getting the win here?
Pete Dunne getting the win here and becoming the new United States Champion.
Got a title change and everything. Well, congrats to Pete Dunne. What? Explain here, Mikey. Why are you putting the title on Pete Dunne?
I like Pete Dunne a lot.
Number one.
I think, number one, Pete Dunne's great. Number two, throughout this whole push, I feel like I've really been building up Pete Dunne, and I've really been building up the fact that Samoa Joe was underestimating him, and and I think this match is a result. The match result is a direct result of Samoa Joe underestimating Pete Dunne still, and not really taking him seriously, and Pete Dunne took advantage of that and ends up winning this match.
I also think there's this idea that like Samoa Joe has had solid United States Championship defenses since earning back the gold. I forget what pay-per-view it was. Did he win it back at WrestleMania? I don't remember when we.
Samoa Joe won the United States Championship the Smackdown after WrestleMania once we split.
Oh yeah, okay. So he won it.
Samoa Joe's been the United States champion since we split up the two brands.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, he has. This might be his 4th title defense. I want to say he is solid in these defenses as well. I'm trying to look it up real quickly. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, he won it in the first episode. Then he defended it against Jeff Hardy and won. Defended against Kevin Owens and Money in the Bank. Defended against Kevin Owens again last week. And
in the Go Home show. And
defended it against someone else at Backlash. So he's. I think this is like his 4th or 5th defense. Yeah, he maybe there is something to say that Kevin Owens did quite the number on Samoa Joe on that Go Home show.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't fully prepared. So
maybe not.
But yeah, I like it. Pete Dunne, we've been high on since the beginning, obviously, but now, if I'm not mistaken, Pete Dunne is a former World Heavyweight Champion, former United States champ, or current United States Champion. Now he just needs some tag team gold, maybe, and then
Pete Dunne's on his way to becoming a Grand Slam.
Yes, slowly but surely, going that career way. I like it. Well, then let's move into the next match, which is our not even middle of the show. We're almost there. It's that fatal 4-way for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Mikey, we got the Disciples versus the New Day versus the Usos versus LLC. With, of course, I should say, Lana in their corner, always in their corner. I wrote Lane and not Lana on my scorecard. That's fine. So this is a sort of a feud that's been bubbling over for the past several months. Of course, it started with the Disciples versus the New Day, where the New Day won the titles. Then Seth Rollins introduced the new Disciples and Dave Mastiff, making Mastiff and Murphy the new Disciples there. Plus, the Usos were sort of feuding with LLC before the Usos, I believe one of the Usos got injured, if I'm not mistaken, or something happened, I don't remember. But before that all went down, and then the Usos come back, LLC said they wanted some gold, so it's become a whole chaotic thing here. But obviously, we have this fatal 4-way, and I will say, Mikey, that there is a new champion.
A new champion?
A new champion has been crowned.
Whom's may that be?
Whom's may that be indeed, and that answer is, Mikey, Mastiff and Murphy.
Whoa, Mastiff getting gold shortly after his debut.
Yes, debuting, roughly 5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Already.
A little over a month, Dave Mastiff has been on Raw.
A little over a month. Dave Mastiff already has gold around his waist. So good on Mastiff here. You got to respect it. They did pin the New Day to get the win, so good for them as well here, pinning the New Day.
Whoa.
The New Day.
I can't get over that. It's a big win. I was expecting LLC or the New Day, honestly, to retain.
Yeah, no, I'm going with the Disciples here. I'm putting the titles back on them. And part of the reason I'm turning back on them, Mikey, is, we're a booking show, so we can reveal these results. But part of the reason I'm putting the titles back on them is that I have plans for SummerSlam. So I need to get the titles on them now so that SummerSlam makes sense. Additionally, that's one of the reasons why So originally when I thought of this match and the SummerSlam match like months ago, I was not going to have the Disciples lose their titles at all. But when it came to Backlash, I was sort of sitting here and I was like, well, there's been a lot of good promos, and I say this because I've written the promos. A lot of good stuff leading into it. So and Kofi's return and Woods' return and all this stuff. So I was like, I need to have like a big thing. So I was like, well, I'm just going to give it to New Day. I'm going to give the titles at New Day Backlash. That was a decision made that day of recording. Was to give the titles to the New Day. So then, have a little bit more feuding. I thought it made sense to have the Disciples want to get their titles back, along with also I remembered that morning that I was like, well, I also want to have LLC involved. So I think having LLC involved going after the titles of the New Day also works versus the Disciples. So I did all of those things together and
You smushed them all together.
squished it all together. And then I was like, well, I'm going to have the Disciples win here so I can then build properly into what is one of my favorite SummerSlam matches that I've already booked looking at my scorecard here.
Dang.
Yeah, so a little bit of a tease, but I gave it to the Disciples to get the Raw Tag Team Championships back, baby.
Nice.
Yes. Thoughts on that, Mikey? Thoughts?
I love it. For me, it was a little bit of a swerve. Like I said, I thought it was going to be LLC the way you've been building them up and them wanting to get that cash money Champion's Purse.
Champion's Purse, baby.
I thought it was for sure going to be LLC or that the New Day was going to retain. But it's a surprise that the Disciples won, especially with Mastiff just debuting not even a month ago. Big win for him for sure.
Yeah, my thought there was one for to address Mastiff. I sort of wanted. Part of the reason I also gave it to the Disciples is that I think having Mastiff win sort of legitimizes to an extent. It's not a singles title, it's a tag title. We know how good Murphy is already. But I think Mastiff also getting the titles with Murphy sort of legitimizes why Rollins picked him.
Yep.
In kayfabe, I guess. And then for LLC, their time isn't ready yet. I have more to do with them. So until they get the titles. So I got plans. It's just a matter of time before LLC cashes in their stocks. Does that make sense?
It does indeed.
Does cash in their stocks make sense? Do you cash in stocks?
Do you cash in stocks? Here, sir, take these stocks, please.
Sir, please, have these stocks.
Sir, please, the stocks.
Well, let's go into the mid-card of our pay-per-view here, Mikey. We're right in the middle of the pay-per-view. We have the Universal Championship, Randy Orton defending his title against Braun Strowman. Talk to us about this match and who's winning.
So this match did happen already all the way back at Backlash. Was our main event where Randy Orton took on Braun Strowman for the Universal title. And Randy Orton did end up retaining with a little help from the Demon and reversing a running power slam into an RKO, which was cool, obviously.
Just the Mikey genius of just awesome moves.
But yeah, so that feud has been there. They've been there's been a little heat on both of them. A couple weeks ago, Braun Strowman talked to GM Page and got him and Drew McIntyre a tag team match against Randy Orton and the Demon, in which if they won, Braun Strowman got his title match and Drew McIntyre got his match against the Demon later tonight in the Extreme Rules match. So this match is a result of all of those things. And in this one...
And not only that, but if I'm not mistaken, the Demon is not allowed to be at ringside for this match.
Yes, the Demon is barred from ringside, and it's the same rules for the Demon and Drew McIntyre's match. Randy Orton is not allowed to be there.
Okay.
So this is just a one-on-one match between Randy Orton and Braun Strowman, in which Randy Orton does pick up the victory yet again for his title against Braun Strowman.
Oh, you got to be kidding me!
But he wins not with an RKO, but with a punt kick.
Oh, okay. I imagine the close finish for Braun was Braun going for the running power slam, Orton trying to reverse it into an RKO.
He throws him off.
Yes, Strowman throws him off, then does some sort of cool move to bring him home. Randy Orton wins at the punt kick. God dang. Randy Orton has held onto this United States Championship. I want to see if I can pull up my
Universal
chart.
Championship.
Whatever. Whatever. I'm going to go to our beautifully crafted website, htbpod.com, right now.
He wins, and while you're looking that up, I'm going to explain why. As much as I like Braun Strowman, I don't think he's the one. I don't think he's the big name to end this super long title run Orton has had.
Interesting. Do you have that name in your head, or?
I do.
Okay. And why is it Sami Zayn?
Because he has the Money in the Bank, obviously.
Oh, of course. Obviously. I have to ask that. Is Sami Zayn cashing in today?
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I was like, he's just doing it right now, or he's not doing it at all.
No, he's not cashing in today.
Randy Orton has held on to this Universal Championship since August 11th, 2019.
Randy Orton going on almost a year as the Universal
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. He is legit almost. He is very close.
A little over. He is like less than a month away from a year as the Universal Champion.
Oh, damn. When is? I gotta look it up now. When is SummerSlam? Is that past a year? Oh, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous over here, Mikey.
Why are you getting nervous? Randy Orton having a year-long title run is cool.
It is cool. I'm just nervous because
especially since for like half of that, the results of his title matches were random.
True. True. For a lot of it was a flip of a coin. Yeah, SummerSlam is going to be August 23rd, so he will be a little past a year at SummerSlam, assuming he can hold on to his title by then.
Mm-hmm.
He just has to make it. If Sami Zayn's not cashing in this night, Randy Orton just has to make it through 1, 2, 3 Smackdowns. Wait, three Smackdowns? That's how long Angelo Dawkins is back.
New number one contender, quick! Raiders, get on it! Go, go, go!
Just build it up immediately. Oh my God, that's awesome. I like it. I think that's a solid decision, Mikey. I'm very interested. I have ideas about who eventually is going to take the title off of Randy, but honestly, I still don't. I can't be certain. Like, if I had to pitch, I would probably say it could. I mean, it really depends. If McIntyre wins tonight, I have to imagine it's probably going to be McIntyre again. No, because he can't. Dang it, he can't.
Why can't he?
Because he lost at was it Money in the Bank, right?
I never said that was permanent. We had this conversation before.
Oh, you're right. If McIntyre wins, he gets a WWE Championship match, but nothing happens if he loses.
Yeah.
So he can challenge again.
I never said he couldn't challenge ever again.
Okay. So it could be McIntyre. There is constantly, because I know you, constantly in the back of my brain, I'm thinking Kevin Owens.
I mean, like you said, it's me. Kevin Owens is always an option.
That's fair. It's like break in case of emergency.
It's like, yeah, it's like
just look at your United States title match last week. 3 things in life
are certain: death, taxes, Mikey pushing Kevin Owens.
Just look at your United States title match last week.
Oh yeah,
you're like, I need a match. Kevin Owens.
Like Kevin Owens.
Oh my god. Plus it's like I have to imagine there's something happening with Kevin Owens because Sami Zayn is involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. But also Sami Zayn said that he could challenge for any title. So I don't know what's happening there either. Oh,
he's going to challenge for the women's title now.
I knew it. Him versus Bayley. That honestly probably be a good match. Probably a good intergender match.
Hey, man.
You never know. Okay, well, that's a solid Universal title match, Mikey. Let's move into the next match, which is a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. It is, of course, the champion John Morrison defending his title against both The Miz and Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey, you got to say, this match is a triple threat. It's no sort of gimmick stipulation, but, of course, it is a triple threat, so no DQs are just natural in it.
Yep.
I was going to originally make this match a no disqualification match until I realized remembered that it's a triple threat match and that does not matter. So just to say, there is lots of weapon usage throughout this match. Of course, a lot of this.
It is Extreme Rules.
It is Extreme Rules. Plus, a lot of the build towards this match has been Morrison being sort of a chicken shit heel, using chair shots to retain his title via disqualifications. So he now, because it's a triple threat, he lost that opportunity to sort of find a way to disqualify himself from the title.
Dang.
Or to retain the title. So, without further ado, I've got to say, though, there is going to be a new champion yet again.
A new champion?
Yes. Get your stocks ready to cash, baby, because we're going all in on red. And by red, I mean the hair of the new IC champion, Sheamus.
Whoa!
It's a shameful thing.
Sheamus goes from getting arrested on Raw
Lobster head.
to winning the to winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, Sheamus.
What a turnaround.
And not only that, Mikey. Sheamus. Yeah, got the R-Truth segment. R-Truth segment of getting arrested by R-Truth. He is the new IC champion. And not only that, Mikey. Not only does it go from being arrested to suddenly the IC title holder, he now has officially become a Grand Slam champion. The IC title was the title that's eluded him in his entire career. But with this win, Sheamus is officially a Grand Slam champion.
Grand Slam, baby! Sheamus did it.
Yes, so congrats to Sheamus on getting the IC title.
Shame of fame. Lobster Grand.
I thought it was Lobster Head. I thought that was the gimmick.
Well, it's Lobster Grand because he's the Grand Slam champion.
Oh, I see. Then I'm on board then. I'm back around. You've turned me back around. Yeah, so Sheamus, I've given him the title. Why have I given him the title? For reasons I cannot say yet, honestly.
All right. I'll see.
There are reasons. I was.
I'll wait on bated breath and see.
I was originally planning on giving the title to Miz, since it's been this whole thing for months. But I had an idea to do something with another wrestler, and I felt that to do that, I needed a heel IC champion. And I didn't want it to be Morrison anymore, so Sheamus, there you go.
All right.
So there you go, Sheamus.
I like it.
Let's keep going. Let's keep the train rolling, Mikey.
Next up, a match I have been very excited for. Roman Reigns versus The Fiend in an Inferno match. Ryan, take us away, buddy.
I've been building this match.
Someone is getting fired.
Someone is getting fired. That's been basically the story, is that someone's getting fired. Because the idea was that, many moons ago, Bray Wyatt was going after Roman Reigns because he's now become corporate Bray Wyatt, representing his Vince McMahon, I guess, in that corporation idea. It's like a corporate ministry gimmick, folks. So Bray Wyatt has been saying like, "Oh, you're getting fired," and Vince McMahon doesn't like you. We don't like you, so we're gonna have to fire you. And basically, what the whole firing thing as well happened when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna, I have to get rid of you because the boss wants to get rid of you." And then Roman Reigns beat Bray Wyatt, corporate funhouse Bray Wyatt, at Money in the Bank. So then it turned into that. Well, he didn't like that. He being the Fiend, and the Fiend and Vince and me, you're gonna get fired, which turned into an Inferno match. I stumbled into this match stipulation, Mikey. When I created the corporate Bray Wyatt, I did not think I would be creating an Inferno match. But I stumbled into it, and I was like, it's too perfect to not do it, so I'm doing it.
It's there. It's just right out in the open.
Yes, plus you got that whole Aleister Black angle, which is also the albatross around Roman Reigns' neck. But, however, here, Mikey, I will reveal the answer to this result. And it's a big one.
A big one.
The Fiend wins.
Roman Reigns has been set ablaze and has been fired.
Yes, Roman Reigns has been fired. He's been set ablaze. Probably his leg or something. I don't know. His boot. He doesn't have his
bulletproof vest.
His wet hair.
Is his bulletproof vest also fire retardant?
That I don't know. This match is made to fit. Find out.
The Fiend, being the monster he is, replaced Roman Reigns' shampoo with kerosene.
Aha! Joke's on you. Got him. Yeah. So the Fiend gets the win here, and why is that a big decision for me, Mikey? Because the Fiend has defeated someone. That's you laugh, but us.
It's just the way you said it. Like, the Fiend actually won a match.
Oh, I don't mean it like that. What I mean to say is that, like,
that's what it sounded like when you said he actually defeated someone. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this jobber of this
Jobber finally won something.
this Doink the Clown remake has finally done something with his life. No, it's not only that this jobber has won a match. It's the idea that us fiend heads know.
Fiend heads. Is that what you're called?
Yeah, that's what the fan base is called.
Are you not called the Fireflies anymore?
No, of course not. We're Firefly gimmick is over. That's swamp thing, Bray Wyatt. We're a bunch of fiend heads now.
The Fireflies?
No, I'm throwing it away. I'm to speak for all fiend heads.
Firefly Funhouse. Who do you think the Funhouse is for? The Fireflies.
Anyways,
they're not dead yet.
Anyways, yeah. So us fiend heads know, us Firefly fiend heads know that you know what happens when the fiend wins a match. And more specifically, what happens to their opponent. And that's all I say on the subject. And we move on.
Roman Reigns got burned alive and died.
Yes, but Roman Reigns is officially dead. He's canonized.
Roman Reigns part that's put into the alumni section.
Man, I just thought of a great. Wouldn't a great beginning? Would that be? No, that'd be awful. Would it be awful? Yeah, that'd be awful.
If before Extreme Rules even aired, mysteriously Roman Reigns got moved to the alumni section.
No, I was gonna say if like Bray Wyatt opened up Raw, like throwing out Roman's ashes.
Oh my god!
And I was like, that'd be awful. And then, but the reason I was second guessing myself is like, I mean, to be fair, they did the whole Undertaker CM Punk thing, where it was legit.
Oh yeah, they did. There was one point where CM Punk like dumped him out, right?
Yeah, and not only that, but the idea was that like Paul Bearer recently died, and then he did that. So it's like I was like, well, it's not real.
They won't skip on making a buck for sure.
Yeah, it's not real. It's kayfabe here, but I don't know.
Kayfabe.
I have a different show opener in mind, anyways. Yeah. So, and that's it. That happens in this match. Mikey, any questions? I guess. Thoughts on the results? You've been wanting this match for a while now.
No, I love the result. I love the Fiend winning. I love Roman Reigns getting set ablaze for this match. I love the fact that he brought back an Inferno match. It's very fiendish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked. It was great. It's not honestly, it's the result I expected, but like sometimes that's the route you gotta go. Sometimes going the expected route isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like you don't always need the swerve, you know.
I agree. Yeah. Originally, I was maybe considering Roman Reigns, but I think where I'm going, I think it makes sense for the Fiend, anyways.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, well then let's move into the next match, which is a tables match to decide a new SmackDown Women's Champion. Will it be the original Women's Champion Bayley, or will it be former Women's Champion Asuka?
So we have Bayley versus Asuka in a tables match. This match came to be after Backlash when Bayley, I believe, won the SmackDown Women's Championship against Asuka, and Asuka wasn't quite happy about that. She ended up attacking Bayley next week, and the two have been fighting since. And they have just been absolutely kicking the crap out of each other, putting each other through various tables.
Yes, announce and or otherwise.
Yeah, announce and or otherwise.
Contract.
Yeah, which led Bayley to call for a tables match here, and hence this match was born. And in this match, Bayley does retain her title when she puts Asuka through a table with a Bayley to belly off the top rope.
I think that's a solid choice. I think that's a solid decision. I think I definitely agree with that one. As much as I loved Asuka, I think Bayley retaining and moving on, I think is a good, solid choice for Bayley here.
Yes.
Does this sort of, we sort of alluded to earlier, does this mean that you're sort of looking at the idea of Flair versus Bayley for the title at SummerSlam?
Flair, I'm going to be honest with you, Flair versus Bayley is definitely a plan coming up.
Okay.
But I do have a twist on that.
A twist, you say?
A twist. A twist.
We're going to have them play Twister.
Ryan, this isn't 1990s anymore. Come on, bud.
Correct answer. I was trying to cancel you, and I decided, and you passed.
I passed the test. I passed the cancel test.
Yeah. Passing the cancel test would probably be you get canceled, right? So you failed.
Fail the cancel test?
Yeah, do you want to pass the cancel test?
I don't know. I thought passing was you don't get canceled, and if you fail, you do get canceled.
Whatever it is, I think this is a solid choice. I think Bayley winning is a solid move here. Well, let's move on to the next match, the semi-main, the Demon Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre in an Extreme Rules match. As we mentioned earlier, Orton is banned from ringside. This has been a rivalry that has been brewing for over a year, almost 2 maybe.
I was about to say, I don't think this needs much of a preface like the other ones do. This has been the rivalry. This has been the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens. This has been the Undertaker Edge. This has been
Cena
Punk. Yeah, this has been the rivalry of the past couple of years. This has been the big one.
Yeah, this has started maybe in late 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So about a year and a half ago. This has been
these two fucking hate each other.
Yeah. Yeah, any preface we can do for it is literally just like replaying a lot of the almost the entire catalog.
This has been building since the beginning of this show. Not even this has just been building since the beginning of when we started this show. This has been a big rivalry, all throughout Hit the Books history.
Yeah.
And in this match, this Extreme Rules match,
anything
goes. Drew McIntyre comes out on top and beats the Demon, beats his Demon, and finally finishes his hunt of the Demon.
Wow. Big pop.
Oh, yeah.
Big pop from me, but from the crowd. McIntyre gets the win.
This match ends when Drew McIntyre takes the steel steps and shoves him in the turnbuckle.
Okay.
He throws the Demon into them and then hits him with a claymore while his head is on the steel stairs.
Oh my god.
He wants to make sure this is fucking over. He's not playing games. Not today.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Give me that 30-minute match, baby.
This is gonna... Now, there's been matches on this show where I'm like, damn, I wish I could see that one. For real.
Yeah.
This is one of those matches where I want nothing more. Not just throw them together. I want, I wish we can, see this build play out and see this final Extreme Rules match, for real, in real life. I wish with all of my heart I could see this.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree. I think this is great. I think, where does Balor go from here? Where does McIntyre go from here? I think that's the ultimate question for me.
McIntyre does leave again, taking his final trophy.
Really? I was about to ask. Oh, perfect. I was about to ask. That was going to be a follow-up question. Yeah, to me, will this rivalry ever return? I guess it's ultimately up to you. Mm-hmm. At the very least, in the upcoming months. Because they can obviously return down the line, but dang, that's a solid. If it is the ending, a solid ending, Mikey.
Yeah, I figured at this point I'm making anytime the Demon and Drew McIntyre have a match, I try to make it, or I want even when it was just us, I want us to make it like it's going to be the last one, just in case it does end up being.
That is true. Yeah, there is something also to say that, when Paul Heyman was hired on to work on Raw, he said that, he needs 18 to 24 months to build up new stars. Mm-hmm. We have been building up because remember, we started the show, folks, in 2018, following SummerSlam 2018, where McIntyre, I can go back in the real life card for McIntyre, maybe.
Yeah.
let's see here. I mean, obviously, we all remember what Balor was doing, and that was nothing. Ultimately, that was nothing. Let's see here. Yes, McIntyre was just Dolph Ziggler. Back in 2018, Finn Balor defeated Baron Corbin in a minute 35. I believe as the Demon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they were doing back in 2018, and they weren't doing much. And so we sort of in 2018 decided, you know what, we're going to push these guys, and like Paul Heyman said, it takes 18 to 24 months. Mikey, it's been basically 24 months. Would you argue that Balor and McIntyre are, assuming if this is the real life, new stars? Do you think we've successfully built them up to be new stars for this promotion?
I would say we have. The thing about Balor is that he did have quite a long setback for us.
That is true. A lot of this rivalry has been become 2 years because Balor was gone for like so many months.
Balor was gone for how long? Like 20-something months. So like almost a year or almost 2 years by itself.
Yeah.
Like Balor got hurt early on in our show, and we just got him back what?
A couple months ago?
Yeah, a couple months ago. Like it was after we split.
Yeah, it was like 2019,
early
2019.
Season 3, Episode 4, Finn Balor returns.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's also a great point. Is that so? I guess maybe the ultimate question is maybe less so Balor, but would we argue that McIntyre has become a brand new star?
I feel like McIntyre has been our star for a while. The way we've been building McIntyre, he's been our star for a while. He's we would check the results of the polls on which matches were the best, and consistently McIntyre's were the best, and they got the highest votes. McIntyre was our biggest draw for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Is that he has always been high up there for when we used to do those polls. I mean, I can even look at. Do I still have all that data? Let me see if I have all that data. Yeah, I still have all that data of when we did all those polls, and I broke it down, all this stuff. And I did get a lot of information out of that, which I always found exciting. But McIntyre was still fairly high up. He was consistently high up on the, let's say, rankings. Those rankings. Consistently, and even in our new rankings, McIntyre is high up there. McIntyre is number one.
Mm-hmm.
When I started doing those power rankings on htbpod.com, he has been number one. He's been number one since when I started doing it in Money in the Bank. So that was his second pay-per-view as number one, was Backlash. And, if this win, I have to imagine he's going to be number one yet again.
Yeah.
And assuming he's going to SummerSlam, potentially challenging Orton, I could see him. I can honestly see him winning if that's the case.
I think so too. It's a big for us. McIntyre has been a huge project, and he's definitely had the payoff. He was the WWE champion, for God's sake. We were there, and then he got injured and had to relinquish it.
Yeah,
why he never actually lost it.
Correct. He never actually lost it.
And I just want to say one more thing about this match. There was this shot I had in mind that I forgot to talk about. It's
hit me.
McIntyre holding up the headdress, looking dead at the camera, and then we cut to a shot of backstage where Orton is watching the match.
Ooh.
And Orton just looks petrified.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, Mikey, I see what you're doing here. You are officially doing it. Orton McIntyre. Not only that, based on the result of this match and how brutal it was, I have to imagine that Balor probably won't make it to SummerSlam.
Probably not.
Oh,
but
man.
Neither will Braun Strowman.
Neither will Braun Strowman. This is true. These are facts.
We might have
Yeah,
setting up for a clean one-on-one between McIntyre and Orton here.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a. Yeah, I don't know what it. I feel like McIntyre has been someone that we originally were like, we have great ideas for and want to push him, and we did push him. And I would argue that, if this was real life, I would argue that McIntyre would officially be like a big star.
Mm-hmm.
And even off of that, he's then facing Randy Orton, who has held the title. If he held it by SummerSlam, I don't know why I said it like that, over a year, being a heel this entire time. Yeah, being a heel for 1 year with the title. There's very much something to that idea of like, Orton McIntyre. There's a podcast I listen to, Voices of Wrestling, and they sort of talk about like the issue of WWE currently is that they have no stars, they have no dream matches. Like if you were to, think about it right now, like think real life WWE right now, what is a dream match that you can put together legitimately right now? It's incredibly hard, right? I don't know, and I would say that this McIntyre Orton match, which is probably also what's going to happen in real life.
Looking back at WWE, dream match I would really want the Revival versus the Young Bucks. Oh wait, we might. Wait.
I mean,
can we just real quick sidebar? I'm so excited for that match. Anyway,
whenever it happens,
whenever it does happen, I'm assuming they're trying to hold it off as long as they can, because that match. I don't care what happens. I don't care. They can hold it off as long as they fucking need to. That match needs to happen in front of people.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
The first time those two tag teams square off, it needs to happen in front of fans.
Agreed.
Because it would be, oh my god, I'm picturing it now. Can you hear the fucking pop, Ryan?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those matches where it's going to start.
Stars falling from the sky in Dave Meltzer's pockets? It's going to be like a 12-star match.
I can imagine that match starting with fans chanting, "This is awesome."
Yeah, it's like they're going to be standing in the ring, and it's immediately just going to be "This is awesome" chants.
Yeah, I can easily see that. But yeah, I think you've done a great job with McIntyre here, Mikey, to bring it back home here. I think McIntyre is a legit star in this promotion. I think we've done a great job, and I think there's also the story about McIntyre, and there's the obvious bias in the fact that like we've been building him up and stuff, but like I'm trying to come at it as unbiased as possible, and like you said, you brought up the data points as well when we were building him up in the back in the day, that like people liked his matches and people liked what we were doing with him. So there's evidence that's saying that we were doing a good job. I mean, there's a whole thing about like we've been doing this for 2 years, Mikey, and the whole like impetus of the idea was like, putting your money where your mouth is, about like, oh, everyone's like, oh, I can book better than Smackdown or Raw or whatever, and we're like, okay, then we'll do it. We'll go out there and book all these matches and stuff.
Not to say we haven't had our duds, for sure.
No, we've 100% had so many duds.
But I feel like what we've had that's good has been great all around. I think we've done a very good. When we've done good, we've done very good. But of course, we've all had our duds. It's hard. Yes. It's hard to avoid this.
And we'll admit to our duds.
The Eric and Eric.
the Eric. Why don't we do that? Why don't we make it a lion tamer gimmick? Why don't we just do it Eric and Eric and their two dunces?
Eric and Eric. All right. Instead of talking about our downfalls and all of our history with Drew McIntyre and whatnot, let's talk about new history. Let's go talk about new history. Let's go into our main event of Extreme Rules, Ryan.
Let's talk about a new star that's been building. Main event: Brock Lesnar versus Keith Lee for the WWE Championship. Mm-hmm. Talking about stars from the past, building over 2 years. Talking about new stars.
All the WWE universe is giving Keith Lee their energy.
Yes.
Raising their hands.
Limitless energy.
Spirit bomb against the big baddie. It's just like an episode of Dragon Ball Z, folks. And Brock Lesnar is Final Form Frieza.
Yeah, I mean, this match is like... I mean, It's a Brock Lesnar match, so I was gonna say like, oh yeah, this match is like 30, 40 minutes, but that was like, oh, it's also a Brock Lesnar match.
Probably be like 10 minutes.
It's probably 10 minutes, but it's still gonna be a Brock Lesnar match where he sells things to death, and it's like it's just actually legitimately awesome.
Brock Lesnar is so swingy for me.
What do you mean?
Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's not.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is like he needs the proper person to get him motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of a lot of the problem as well with Brock.
Yeah.
But when it's like Bryan or Balor or Styles, Brock really goes hard, or McIntyre. He really does a good job of selling it all. But yeah, so there's a lot of that. Keith Lee, of course, gets very close with the Spirit Bomb, goes for the moonsault, F5s, yada yada yada. All that stuff is in here. Really, what we want to know is the result, Mikey, and the result is that Brock Lesnar retains the WWE Championship by defeating Keith Lee.
Oh, yeah. Really? Okay. I was not expecting that. I was expecting the big moment for Keith Lee here.
No, it does not happen here. Keith Lee loses the match. Yeah, sorry to end the episode on a sour note.
No, that's okay. It makes sense. Keep Brock Lesnar dominant. It is Extreme Rules. We're going into SummerSlam, so if we're gonna have anything big happen, I feel like, SummerSlam's the place.
Yeah, and I do have another match planned for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, obviously, and I like that match as well. So this isn't the last we'll see of. I can promise you this much, Mikey. It's not the last we'll see of Keith Lee in the WWE Championship picture. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea for me for Keith Lee was to build him up to this point. He's not going to win yet, but he's going to look very good to get people. This is one of those moments where everyone's going to be like, you got to put this is Keith Lee's the greatest. And it's like, no, why not? You build up all this cachet. I'm not going to burn it all. People internet. It's one of those results that's gonna like upset internet fans because it's like, why not Keith Lee? You've been pushing him hard, and it's like, well, no, I think there's a better moment for Keith Lee to potentially win something down the line than Extreme Rules. So we'll see what happens with Keith Lee. But plus, I got many more stories to tell with Brock. We have that we flirted with that AJ Styles. There is obviously Brock Lesnar attacked Sheamus that one time a while ago. There's other things. And obviously, there's the whole Roman Reigns situation with Brock Lesnar as well. So I got ideas. So don't you worry, folks. Hopefully, I didn't upset people too much.
I mean, I like it. Like I said, it sets up. I feel like this sets up big for SummerSlam. Whether Keith Lee is Brock's challenger again or Brock gets a new challenger, either way, this sets up big for SummerSlam.
Yeah, and then like I said at the top of the show, is that a lot of my Raw side of the card is setting up for SummerSlam. Every match I have here, if I'm not mistaken, except for one match, which I guess except for one match, it does not. Everything sets up for SummerSlam. But the one match I have it written down as I just have no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. I have the one title written down. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it yet. I just know it's going to happen.
Something's going to happen.
I know it's being defended. But yeah, I have ideas, and I hope I can't wait for it. Plus the story's not over with Keith Lee. But yes, that is it for this episode of this card reveal of Extreme Rules. I hope everyone enjoyed it, but of course, we're not yet done, folks. It is a pay-per-view, and like we said, we like to keep things realistic here. Injuries can happen in real life, so why can't they happen in our show? Just like Vince McMahon being upset for no gosh darn reason, or a bunch of other controversies and whatnot. Like Mikey said, nagging injury. So every week at the end of our shows that come out on Friday, where we do Raw and SmackDown, the audience votes in a poll that's on our Twitter, @HitTheBooksPod, where they get to vote which card they thought was better. Did they think Raw was better, or did they think SmackDown was better? So when it comes to pay-per-views, obviously, because we have to, we're recording this in the middle of a live poll. We can't tell you what's going to happen. We can't have you vote like that.
Yeah.
So instead, both of us are going to have to roll on each other to see what happens. We're having 2 rolls here, folks. And if you're rolling, Mikey, anything bad will affect me. And if you're rolling, Mikey, anything good will affect you. So if you get like an NXT call-up, you get an NXT call-up, dude. So without further ado, are you ready to mess with each other's cards, and see what happens?
Mm-hmm. Can't wait. It's going to be thrilling, I'm sure.
You say this with slight hesitation.
I'm terrified.
It sounds.
Brian, I didn't want the randomizer to see my fear, but thanks for pointing it out.
The moment it smells, it's like a shark. The moment it smells fear,
that's when it's over.
Oh, I got a great one.
Oh,
no. I got a great one, Mikey.
Okay.
I got a great one for you. But I'm gonna look over at the card so I can think for a second. Did you roll the randomizer as well?
I have not yet. I was seeing what you rolled first. I have one for you.
Okay. Would you like to reveal yours first, or should I reveal mine first?
I'll do mine first since yours sounds like it's bigger than mine is.
Sure.
Ryan, I have rolled the randomizer, and the randomizer has decided that you need to include a match interference. A wrestler interferes with a match.
Match interference. A wrestler interferes with a match.
And before you say it, no, I'm not going to count Shorty G because that was post-match.
Fair enough. Well, I can run down it right now. I think Brian Andrade obviously doesn't make any sense. Morgan Ripley, Bliss, Nia Jax. The only person that would make sense there would be Baszler. But for the story I want to tell, I don't think that's a good idea per se. Because then it's like if Baszler wins, cashes in, and wins the title, then like what happens to that whole stipulation? And it's like that whole like story has been lost.
Okay.
It's just sort of like a tease. There's the Fatal 4-Way, which, Lucha House Party is going to attack? Like, what's happening here? There's Miz, Morrison, Sheamus, which there's not many other people that can really be involved in that match that has any reason to be involved in that match. Maybe Andrade. R-Truth is going to come in and arrest Sheamus. Maybe Andrade, but I don't know. Then you got Roman Reigns Fiend. And I guess in theory, but they're surrounded by fire, so no. I think the only match I can have an interference in is Brock Lesnar, Keith Lee, Mikey.
Interesting.
And I think there's only one
big match to have one in.
And I think there's only one person that makes sense to interfere in this match.
Oh yeah, who do you got?
It's got to be AJ Styles.
Whoa, that's fair.
I don't think that AJ Styles is the reason Keith Lee loses, but I think he definitely interferes in the match, which helps lead eventually.
Definitely a factor.
Yeah, he eventually leads to Keith Lee losing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the sole reason. Yeah, I think legitimately that's the only thing that makes sense. It might actually help my story moving forward. So I'll take that randomizer roll and use it to my advantage, Mikey.
Yes. Let's see what we got.
Now, your result, Mikey, and I love it. It's a new randomizer that came up in the split season era, season 3, baby.
Oh no.
We got pick'ems.
Oh no.
Change the result of one of the others' matches. I can now change any match result I want. That is of yours.
Huge.
It's totally up to me. The power's in my hands. All right, well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I could do a lot of damage here. I can change it to Street Profits win. I can change it to Street Profits win. And then
no title defenses at all or title builds for like weeks.
Basically, no champion for 3 weeks. I can have Samoa Joe retain, which I don't think does as much damage.
Still sucks, though.
It sucks because it's not what you wanted to do. I can have Braun win the title, which just ruins the whole SummerSlam potential match. I can have the Balor win, which ruins a whole potential SummerSlam match. But like I said, I like those two, so I don't necessarily know if I want to do that. I can have Asuka win back the title. I can have Riot beat Flair. But what do I want to do here? What do I want to get my mitts into? What do I pick? Well, I do have one in mind.
Oh, man.
And I don't think it's not bad. It's honestly not bad. And I don't know if it'll help you. It won't. None of the things will help you. But I think it makes sense for me because I like this person a lot. I really wish you pushed them a little bit more, Mikey. So why not I help you give a little push towards that direction? No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm just going to have Ruby Riott win instead of Charlotte Flair.
Okay, I can work with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can make something out of that.
Yeah, you can
I'm
make
not
something
going to lie,
out of it.
I was on the fence about that match in general.
Yes, and that was the match I was like, I heard in my voice at the beginning where I'm like, okay, Charlotte Flair, Ruby Riott winning. I like Ruby Riott. I think it helps that era aspect as well. And, Riott Bailey could be interesting. It does hurt a lot Flair. But then now I think about it, there is the idea that this wasn't a number one contenders match, so you can eventually make a number one contenders match. Charlotte Flair gets the third win to get her win back, then challenge Bailey. So ultimately, you can fix your situation. But I'm going to have Riott win on the pay-per-view.
All right. Let's see where this goes.
I'm not going to be uber mean. Like I said, I'm not going to have Orton and McIntyre lose because I think that works.
I think I'm definitely going to have Riott play it up now, though.
That's fine. I would love that. I want Riott to get the push deserves.
Remember those old era segments where it used to be all of them backstage and they'd be just talking trash about their opponent? It's going to have one of those. Riott's going to be like sitting in a throne.
Perfect.
Like a crown on, just like, well.
Who's the queen now?
Yeah.
If you got to beat the man, if you're going to be the man, you got to beat the man. If you're going to be the queen, you got to beat the queen.
Is that how that works?
Dethrone.
She overthrew the royalty.
Well, yeah, there's going to be some sort of promo where Ruby Riott's just like celebrating eating cake, and she's like, "Well, I defeated the queen. She, let them eat cake." Some sort of dumb gimmick. Mm-hmm. She's going to become. Oh no, the best thing you could do, Mikey, is to announce the Queen of the Ring tournament and have Ruby Riott win. To give her the full gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. But yeah, Ruby Riott, pick'ems have been decided. I changed your result to Ruby Riott gets the win. I didn't want to mess with you too bad. But I wanted a result. This is, to be honest, it's not that I didn't want to mess with you too bad. This is the match that if I were to change anything, I would have changed this one anyways.
That's fair.
Because I like Riott. I like Ruby Riott. Oh, man. Okay, well then there we go. That's this week's episode. Not even this week's. That is this pay-per-view special of Extreme Rules, folks. Thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode, or not even this week's, this pay-per-view special episode of Hit the Books. Of course, we'll be back this upcoming Friday for, of course, that flagship Hit the Books show where Mikey and I will present our own Raw and Smackdown cards. So why don't you go subscribe so that you can make sure to get that episode when it drops. We've already announced on the Raw side that Edge will be returning. And Mikey, do you have any idea what's happening on SmackDown yet?
No, I have no idea what's happening on SmackDown now because Ruby Riott won instead of Charlotte Flair, so now I got to switch some of my plans up.
Ruby Riott was the linchpin, the entire SmackDown show.
This opening match that just started getting built on the Go Home show was the most vital part of my SmackDown comeback show.
Well, there we go. So yeah, go subscribe to the podcast feed of your choice, whether it be Apple, Google, Spotify, what have you, to make sure to get that episode when it drops this Friday and every Friday. Of course, you can listen to our sister show, Wrestling and Statistics, which comes out every Monday. It sort of goes in depth on stats and analysis. I say in depth, but really we just sort of talk about review matches through stats and analysis. So go check that out every Monday. We have a special guest on, Wrestling with Statistics, so go check that out. You can also go to our YouTube channel, Hit the Books Podcast, and there you can see video versions of both Wrestling Statistics and Hit the Books Podcast. Basically, you're able to listen to it and view some cool visuals. Along with that, we also got our 2K outcomes. You can go check out that backlog, along with some backlogs of pay-per-view reviews, and get our thoughts about old WrestleManias. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at HitTheBooksPod. So go do that. And of course, you can vote in all those polls and everything and just hear nonsensical ideas about the world of professional wrestling. Mikey, do you have any where can people find you? Or is there anything else I'm forgetting?
Well, Ryan, you forgot to plug us on iTunes, where you can leave a review of 5-6 stars or more and let us know if you like the show, what we could be doing better, any ideas that you have, stuff like that. Let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Or 6 reviews of 5 stars.
Yes.
Like if you do that,
or 5 reviews of 6 stars.
Even better. Gotta say, even better. So yeah, leave a review. We really appreciate that. So yeah, obviously because it helps other people find our show. We get even more fans that way. It's weird because it's literally just like taking your time to do like 2 minutes, and it'll help us out a lot just by doing that. So if you're a fan of the show, go check that out. I think that's it. Like I said, follow us on Twitter at HitTheBooksPod. I guess until next time, Mikey, until we talk this Friday. Until then, Mikey, everybody, have a good day. Have a lovely weekend. Take some time. Enjoy your time. But I still, at the end of the day, I've got 2 words for you. Book it.